Hello and welcome back. Today we will be examining the results of the Kumites. This is the first season where we captured this information. The purpose of running these Kumites is to A. Include more poolers in a draft, B. Run longer drafts, therefore more players are being selected, C. To obtain more confidence in our results, and D. Not to include any calculated lists like the 3-year rankings by points per game. Our goal is to encourage the various people and publications to produce longer lists so they can participate in multiple Kumites. Like the Battle of the Hockey Pool Guides, the Kumites are a points-only draft. The draft order is randomly assigned, and the order of selection will reverse or snake back every other round. There are no positional restrictions. Every player drafted counts towards the total for the team, and we have removed all known retired, non-active NHL, and long-term injury players from the lists. Inclusion into a Kumite was based on the total number of player projections. The winners will be determined by the most points earned. There are no tiebreakers, so if there is a tie, there is a tie. We start off with Kumite 12. This is a reminder of the randomly drawn draft order and the total number of predictions that each guide made. There were a total of 61 rounds drafted, which equates to 732 players. The winner was Dom Lucizin. Congratulations to Dom. His team drafted in the 9th spot and managed to earn over 1,200 points, which was 32 more points than his nearest competitor. Beside the draft order, you will see a number within parentheses. If it is positive, it's colored in green, and it shows how the guide placed. If the number is in red, that means the guide performed worse than the draft order. Dom had the biggest gain, moving up 8 spots from his drafted position. Here we see the results ordered by the total number of points earned. The values within the parentheses indicate how far off the individual guide's predictions were to their final score. On an initial glance, it appears that Dom was the most accurate, having ended up in first place, but Fantasy Ref was actually closest to their predicted total outcome, yet they ended up in 6th place. On to Kumite 16. Again, here was the draft order and the number of projections each guide made. This time the winner was Left Wing Lock with a score of 875, which was 26 points better than Dom. Congratulations to Left Wing Lock. Because we had 16 guides, only 37 draft rounds were held, which equaled to 592 players being taken. The numbers within these parentheses show the difference between the draft order position and the final score ranking. Left Wing Lock moved up 8 positions. When we look at the results versus the predicted outcomes, there is a mixed bag. In general, the closer to a guide's prediction, the better the guide's outcome was. However, there was no guarantee that the guide would do well. 2 examples. Both RotoWire and Dom were 199 points away from their predicted totals, yet RotoWire ended up in 5th place. Another example is with Fantasy Ref. Once again, being 179 points off, they were the closest to their projected total, but they ended up in 14th place. We now move on to the Kumite 20. Here's what the draft order looked like and the total number of projections each guide made. With 732 points, this time the Ultimate Pool Preview was the victor. Congratulations to them for being the top guide in this Kumite. A total of 560 players were selected over the course of 28 draft rounds. The Ultimate Pool Preview took advantage of their early draft position. It helped them secure the victory. This time the best guide was also the guide closest to their predicted result. Yet, Fantasy Ref performed very well in comparison to the predictions, but ended up in 13th place. We have seen other guides do better than their draft order position. Shouldn't we expect Fantasy Ref to be positioned much higher in the standings since the predictions appeared to be better? The Kumite 24 is next in line. Here we see the original draft order positions and the total number of predictions made. Our winner this time was the Daily Faceoff with 569 points, which was more than 50 points better than their nearest competitor. Congratulations go out to the Daily Faceoff. They used the second overall pick to their advantage. In this Kumite, there were 17 rounds and 408 players selected. Things did not seem to go well for Fantasy Ref. They had the first overall pick, and their predicted outcome was closest to their actual outcome, and yet they ended up in 6th place by a 90-point margin from first place. How would you feel if you came really close to meeting your predicted expectations, but came in 6th place? How do you feel about a guide which finished better than you, but was off their predicted totals by a huge margin, like Hockey the Magazine? Which is the better guide? Our final Kumite had 28 guides competing against each other. This was the draft order and the total number of predictions each guide made. In an extremely close match, Chuck Lemieux nudged out Fantasy Alarm by 3 points. Congratulations to Chuck Lemieux. Chuck Lemieux improved upon their 17th draft position, and even Fantasy Alarm improved on the 27th pick that they had. Fantasy Ref seems not to be able to catch a break even in this Kumite. They were able to improve upon their original draft position, and they were only 22 points away from their predictions, but they ended up in 5th. In general, we do see that if a guide comes close to their predictions, they tend to do well. However, there are no guarantees of how well they will do, and there are exceptions that can displace them. Our whole reasoning behind the missed opportunity scores, Battle of the Hockey Pool Guide simulations, and these Kumites are to get a better feel for how well a set of predictions truly are. In summary, our black belt winner was Chuck Lemieux. The brown belt winner was the Daily Faceoff. The victor for the purple belt was the Ultimate Pool Preview. Our orange belt winner was Left Wing Lock, and the blue belt winner was Dom Lucizan. When looking at the results from all 5 Kumites, we have a clear winner. The most prized guide with 1 victory, 2 second place finishes, and 2 third place finishes was Chuck Lemieux. Well done, Chuck. We acknowledge that these Kumites are just one outcome in many, many million possibilities, which is why we still have the missed opportunity scores to examine and the Battle of the Hockey Pool guides to run. Will they match up with the results from the Kumite? Stay tuned to find out. The 5 Kumite drafts will be held and published in future videos. Please consider liking and subscribing to this channel, and you can also follow along by going to www.hockeypoolguideaid.blogspot.com. Thanks for watching.